Welcome back, friends. Welcome to another video tutorial from Shomu's Biology. We've been talking about the different part of immunology, and we've been talking about the T cell immunology in last couple of videos. In this video, we'll be talking about the different types of T cells and their associated functions. So let's talk about that. The function of T cell, the role of T cell is central in the whole process of immune system development. The core of the cell immunity as well as the humoral immunity, cell immunity crosstalk is possible due to the interaction between T cell and the antigen presenting cell. So this is the antigen presenting cell. Let's say this is a macrophage, which is a type of antigen presenting cell which involved in interaction with the T cell. With this interaction between antigen presenting cell and T cell, there are different chemical signaling process going on between them. The major interaction between antigen presenting cell and T cell is conducted with the MHC class II receptor from the antigen presenting cell and T cell receptor, which is a kind of complementary shaped receptor from the T cell, which ultimately determines whether there is a pathogen present or not. If pathogen is present, T cells start releasing interleukins, interleukin 2, interleukin 1, interleukin 4, 5 and interferon gamma, which will ultimately help in signaling so many different cascade of reactions that we already saw earlier. Now we'll see this sort of activation of T cell mediated by antigen presenting cells can turn and produce 4 different types of T cells. They have separate functions to play. One is the helper T cells. Second one is the memory T cells. Third type is the suppressor T cell. And fourth one is the killer T cell. Now if you look at the first type, which is the helper T cell, which is the most common type of all, these helper T cells, they cooperate with other cells like B cells, which are antigen presenting cells. These helper T cells activate those B cells and convert the B cell into plasma cell, because the plasma cell are antibody producing factories, and also this helper T cells can interact with macrophage, it can interact with other antigen presenting cells to finally cause inflammation or inflammatory response. The second type, memory T cells, they remain even after the pathogens are gone from the body, even after our immune system wiped away all those pathogens from our body. But these memory T cells are present inside our body because they have all those informations regarding the pathogen. So if in near future the same pathogen evades our body, these memory T cells will come handy and they know what to do from the beginning. So after a reinfection by the same pathogen, due to the presence of memory T cells, the cell mediated immune response will be much stronger in the next time. Third type or suppressor T cell, these are basically like kind of a off switch for the immune system, because they suppress the immune system. And this is kind of important because sometimes the T cell activity are very much eager and very much avid to bind with all the pathogens. They sometimes cause, due to the presence of some super antigen, a huge amount of T cells gets activated that can cause an overreaction or overexpression of all those proteins. That is a kind of a unwanted thing in our immune system. In that cases, the suppressor T cells actually switch off the cell mediated immune system or cell mediated immunity by secreting interleukin 10 and stuff. Okay, this is one type of signaling molecule that can prevent macrophage to develop and grow and stuff. Okay, so that is very important. The fourth type or killer T cells, these are known as cytotoxic T cells, and they combine with the antigen and invading cells. And finally, the job of this killer T cell is to find out whichever cell or normal cell of our body is infected by pathogen. Say there are plenty of cells, some of them are normal, healthy, but this cell is infected. For example, say in this epithelial cells, this is, let's say, infected cell infected by viruses or pathogen. In that sense, this killer T cells will recognize those infected cells and actually start secreting chemical factors called perforins, granzymes, which will create pore in these home cells, which are infected cells. The body will try to keep a cell healthy, But if a cell is infected and can't be fixed, in that case the best way to kill that cell, because if we kill that cell, the disease no longer can spread. That is the idea of killer T cells. While they start secreting perforins, granzymes, which will ultimately cause the apoptosis event to bring inside those infected cells. As a result of that, the cell cannot grow, so the infection is prevented then and there. Let's look at two different types of the cells that we talked about. That's CD4 T cells and CD8 T cells we talked about. Here we'll look for the functions in little bit more details, like we'll see the pictures and related to that. In CD4 T cells, we have T helper 1 cell and T helper 2 cells. Among CD8 T cells, we have cytotoxic T cells or killer T cells that we just talked about. If we look at T helper 1 cell, you see T helper 1 interacts with macrophage, which is one type of antigen presenting cell, with the help of MHC2 from macrophage and T cell receptor from T helper 1. And they also engage with some co-stimulated interactions that can ultimately activate T helper 1, which will signal some more other cells to bring in that area. Normally T helper 1 bring more macrophages, more dendritic cells, as well as bring more T helper 1 cells inside. On the other hand, T helper 2 cells interact with B cell. B cell also act as an antigen presenting cell, but mostly T helper 2 involved with the B cell interaction, because B cell interact with this T helper 2 with the help of those MHC class 2 molecules, and sometimes also with the antibody that is present on the surface of the B cell. They will also involve in the same process, but the difference between T helper 1 and T helper 2 is T helper 2 usually involved with the activation of B cell and proliferation of B cell, while T helper 1 includes with the proliferation of T cells themselves as well as the macrophages. The last one is the cytotoxic T cell. As I told you earlier, cytotoxic T cell can directly interact and involve with the virus infected cell or any pathogen infected cell, start releasing factors which will degrade the cell and ultimately cause the cell to go through apoptosis, which is a programmed cell death which will kill the cell. Now normally this type of cell, T helper 1 and 2, belong to CD4 type of T cell because they have this cluster of designation 4 receptor on their surface, while the cytotoxic T cell are called CD8 T cells because they have this cluster of designation type 8 present as a receptor on their surface. Now the distinguish between CD4 and CD8 is brought normally during the maturation and training of these T cells in the thymus, during the development of T cells from thymocytes, which we already discussed in the last video. So that in a sense are the different types of T cells and their functions. I hope this video helped you out. If you like this video, please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and definitely subscribe to my channel to get more videos like that. Thank you very much.